NVIDIA 3050 Ti, AMD 6600 XT, and a few other are coming down the pipeline. Some low-end graphics card is what we're going to be talking about today, along with a few other topics here on Off and On Again, the podcast where we talk about the latest in PC gaming, hardware, and more. My name is Nick Laporte, and I am joined, as always, by my AI co-host, M.A.T.T, a.k.a. Matt.
How's it going? I just had my antivirus definition updated.
Me too, but I think it was delivered in a slightly different manner as yourself.
Yeah, so I'm feeling a bit like I'm running on like too little RAM or something today.
I'm feeling a little sore in the arm area at the moment, but I hope it doesn't get much worse than that. We were supposed to have another guest on today, or at least our first guest, but it turns out that they have the maybe opposite problem as we may have at this moment, and they are potentially, allegedly, unconfirmed sick with the COVID-19, so hopefully they're okay. So it's just going to be Matt and I today. Not like that's stopping anybody else from watching. So, yeah. We got some fun things to talk about today. Not too heavy on the news, but there are some lower end graphics cards, like I mentioned before, that we're going to be talking about from NVIDIA and AMD coming down the pipeline. And I'm curious about prices. That's the big thing I want to talk about. So first off, let's not waste any time. We got a few other things we're going to talk about, but I do want to talk about the 3050 Ti. So let's get right into it, Matt. So we've got some news coming from a very specific third-party creator who I've never heard of. Do you know of M.A.T.T?
M.A.T.T, yeah, I've heard of them.
You've heard more than me because I haven't heard of this brand. So this is some new cards that are coming out. And this is coming from M.A.T.T. They've registered with the EEC a 3050 Ti, the 3070 Ti, and the 3080 Ti. And this is the first news that I've personally heard about a 3050 Ti coming out. So I'm really happy about this because I feel like we've been waiting longer than normal to actually get some of these lower end cards out there.
Yeah, it does seem like it's been a while. Also on AMD's side as well. Like they started high and they stayed there for a while. It's taking even longer for them, I think, for their...
It seems like a lot longer than normal. And I know that likely has to do with this whole situation we got going on in the world with the pandemic and that, and what we're getting with shortages with chip manufacturers. And it's not like it's showing like it's going to stop anytime soon, but if at least we know that they have this, it's spreading out, they have more access to chips, or at least hopefully that's going to be the case. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but I'm just having my fingers crossed, hoping that we're going to see cards become more available. Like it's still so bad. Like it's months and months and months. It's going on and on and on. It's not stopping.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year since PC parts in general have been hard to come by. You recall, there were power supply shortages and things in the spring of 2020. It wasn't just when the new video cards came out that this started. So it's been going on quite some time now.
Yeah, and it just seems like it's, for the most part, it's getting worse. The only area that I'm seeing it's getting a little better seems to be with motherboards. And that's because nobody's really buying them as much because they know that they can't get a graphics card anyways. So why bother? And I can see that happening. Like we saw last week when we were searching up for the 3090, and what you get first is a bunch of pre-builds or bundle deals. It's just, it's disheartening. Well, I have a friend, and I think I've talked about this in the past, but he's bought some of my old gear for real cheap, but he's still waiting for a graphics card. He was going to take my 1070, but I still need it because I haven't had a chance to actually buy a card yet. And, he's looking for like a 1660 and nowhere to be found. Still can't find one. The 1660. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad I do have a card. I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. I do feel for all the people who don't have one, though. I mean, I was in your situation for quite some time. I just happened to buy a budget card last spring, and it held me over for probably 3 times as long as I thought I was going to use it for. But yeah, if we could stop talking about this the shortage stuff and just move on to another part of the story.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about all of these cards. There are so many different cards. Like, what do you think about there being so many different cards? Like, I wonder if, all was equal and everything was at MSRP. Like, how many different price points do we have here? Like, is there a card for like every $50 gets you the next card or something? Like, you got going down from like the 3050, 3050 Ti, 3060, 3060 Ti, 3070, 3070 Ti, like on and on and on and on. Like,
well, I think what typically would happen is that a lot of these cards would replace the others in many cases. Maybe that was more true with the 2000 series, and I don't know if that would happen this time because I don't think it really happened with the 1000 series NVIDIA cards. Like when the Supers came out,
right?
And my memory might be wrong here, but I remember that they mostly discontinued the non-Super versions, and you really couldn't find any of them once they sold out.
I think so, yeah.
So I think that might be the case. But it just seems kind of like, I feel like NVIDIA's in this position right now. Maybe not so much, but I don't know. Like, is there any real point to even putting out these extra cards, like these TI versions, these super versions? It's not something that AMD typically does, and we have no hint of them actually doing something like that. What is the purpose in this particular situation? There's already shortages. Like, why are they releasing these extra SKUs?
Well, I mean, I understand that a 3050 needs to exist for somebody who maybe all they play is League of Legends or something like that, and they don't need like a crazy card. They just need something. But I just think it's so weird that there's like, like that there's so many cards and all the price points are, I imagine, fairly close.
Yeah. I mean, they would be.
And especially when you start looking at the third parties that are making their own versions and overclocking them and adding more fans and all that, the line becomes even blurrier between like a 3050 that's released by Asus or whoever. I still forget how you're supposed to pronounce that properly. And maybe like a stock NVIDIA 3050 Ti. Like, they're probably going to be pretty similar, I would imagine. I don't know if there's extra stuff in the 3050 Ti versus the 3050, or if it's literally just clock speeds. But still, there's a lot. It feels like this is getting pretty saturated, and maybe. I don't really know what the need is for all these in-between ones when we could just have a 3050, 3060, 3070, 3080.
Honestly, I feel like in many cases it's just marketing. It's like adding that TI at the end, adding the S at the end. It just gives it a little bit more oomph to it, right? Because we've already seen it before. Like, we don't have an RTX 3050 yet. We don't even know if we're going to get one. It's just going to be 3050 Ti. It gives you this kind of air of superiority around the card already. And it may be just a marketing thing, and if anything, because like obviously it's gonna be more powerful. Like, we're expecting the 3080 Ti to be more powerful than the 3080, but it's not like it's going to be a huge jump. It's not going to supersede the 3090. It's not going to surpass that. Like, it's not going to happen, right? And we already know that when you're talking about gaming, the 3080 and the 3090, they're hardly far apart, like between 5 and 12%.
Yeah.
The way I said apart there was so Canadian. It was just like, oh my God, I sound like Tom Power from the CBC.
Like, what's the guy, Rick Mercer?
Yeah.
Apart.
Art. Yeah. I love art. Yeah. But you're right. It seems a bit arbitrary having all of these SKUs so close together, but I think a lot of it's marketing. But at the same time, like you said, this is great. Like I'm not trying to put down like the 3050 Ti or anything. I think it's gonna be a great card. I think it's gonna be overpriced like every graphics card that's available right now. But if it were at MSRP, I'd expect it to be around like $250 or something, $200 probably. Who knows what we're actually gonna see the price at? Probably like I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even look at prices anymore because it's just depressing. Like I don't want to know.
Yeah, I do think it's marketing, and this is a thing that happens, I find, with Apple a lot. If you're in the market for a MacBook, like anything, Air or Pro or whatever, you look at the entry level price and you're like, okay, I could see this, I could afford this. But the second you start speccing it out, like it starts getting more and more expensive. But the thing is, like you can't get a laptop with 64 gigs of storage or whatever. You gotta go up. But then you think about like, actually I'd like a little bit more than that. And then you look at the RAM, it's like I should be okay with 8 gigs of RAM, but actually maybe I should, for just a little bit more, you convince yourself that you could, get the next best one up. So I wonder if, I'm sure there is I'm sure this is a concept in economics that I just don't know the name of, but I'm sure the 3050 exists just to get people into the 3050 Ti or maybe even the 3060. If the prices are close enough and 3050, let's just say, I don't know what the price of the 3050 is or if it even exists, but let's just say it's $200 and you're like, man, I need a graphics card. I could afford $200. But then the 3050 Ti is $250. And then the 3060 is $300 or something. I don't know if these are the right prices, but basically you could convince yourself right up the ladder because the increments between them are so little. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could. However, I think for a lot of people, I might be in that range where I would definitely keep climbing that ladder until I'm at the top. Yeah. But I think budgetary limits are real for most people, and they actually have to stick to that. So they'll get into their box and they'll see where they need to spend, or even see what kind of, like you said, if somebody doesn't really need the graphical power, they can just go ahead and save money because it won't make a difference at all to their gaming experience.
Yeah.
So hopefully people are more pragmatic in that sense and will actually go that direction and not spend the extra money where they don't need to.
Well, the thing is, if you're saving money for a graphics card, you're probably going to be waiting pretty long to get one. So you might as well just keep saving for a better one. Unless you're in that like League of Legends group who could play on integrated graphics or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, I can't look at Newegg anymore because I can't believe the prices are what they should be because of this whole marketplace thing. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah. I haven't bought anything on Newegg specifically in so long. I just walked to my local shop. It's right there. But they got 3060s on here. This is Canadian prices, by the way, for $1,900. That's like $1,500 US for a 3060. That's okay. There's other ones here that are $700 Canadian. That seems more reasonable. But still, that's I say reasonable. That's all in context, right? With how expensive things are now. That should be the price of like a 3080. Really.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so I would expect to see one of these come out, and they're going to be probably around street prices, somewhere around $400, maybe even $500. But then again, I'm not sure exactly how much. eBay is usually a good place to see, like a litmus test to see what kind of prices, what the prices are going for these days. What's a 3060 going for on eBay? I wonder how many fake ones are being sold still. There's a lot of like those paper ones for sale.
Yeah, I still don't understand how that helps
God,
anything.
this is outrageous. Buy it now prices. Oh my God, bids going above $1,200 Canadian for a 3060, or like $1,000 US. Wow. It's this bad. It's this bad. It is bad. Oh my God. Yikes. You know what? I'm going to shut down the podcast. I'm not going to make YouTube videos anymore. I'm just going to sell my 1070. I could probably get a good $600-$700 for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Jeez. I could actually make money on this thing. We had it for 4 years. I could make money on it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Or you could, you could start mining.
I could.
You should really have like a backup card if you're going to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping the card. I'm going to use it. I'm enjoying it still. It's still great. Mine is fine. This is, no, Matt coined this term. Mine is fine.
Did I?
You did. You said that.
Okay.
Speaking of mining, I now have coin.
Yeah.
I didn't mine it though. I bought it.
Oh yeah, what kind?
Bitcoin.
I see.
Yeah. Parked some money in there. The thing is, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the coin. Just get my own wallet and get it into my own wallet. I own the address and everything. When I say I bought the coin, it's just on like this very specific Canadian trading website, and I just bought $100 of Bitcoin, and I've already lost $10. But I'm just figuring I'll leave it there and just see what happens, because this is not financial advice in any way, but the more I listen to different podcasts and people come in and talk about it who are, alleged experts in this and that, the more I'm worried about the future of the world's economics. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Maybe I'll just put a little bit of money in Bitcoin just to see what happens. Nothing that if I do lose, it's going to be a big deal or anything. But some people are speculating or expecting Bitcoin, and they have been expecting, and they've been saying this for 10 years already, that Bitcoin will go up to $1 million. And that's about at the point where it'll start to level off and start to be used more widely as an actual currency.
Interesting.
Do you have any coin yet?
I have Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I have, I won't disclose the amount. It's not a ton. It's not, it's more than $100 worth. Just for mining a bit, but I am officially done with mining because it is pretty much summer now, and there's no way I can keep a computer running at all times because it just heats up the place way too fast.
Like, yeah, your computer heats up the room enough if it's not mining, just playing a game or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy hot. Lord knows if I'm going to continue wearing these flannel shirts during these podcasts. It's questionable.
Oh yeah, I guess that's kind of your uniform, isn't it?
It's my shtick. It's part of the thing.
Yeah, I put the flannel away a month or two ago.
It's rough. I got a fan blowing in this room here. Just enough. Hopefully it's keeping me cool enough. What is it? 25 degrees in here right now. It's too warm. Yeah. Anyways. It's not a good idea. Don't do this. But yes, let's move on to the AMD. So AMD is also looking to release some new cards. Obviously, that was going to happen. And we're expecting 2 to 3 new cards coming out that are going to have 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'm like, back to the NVIDIA one. I'm disappointed that they don't have a more information about the 3050 Ti, but that's all we have for now. But we're expecting the 6600 XT with 2048 cores and a cut down RX 6600 with fewer cores of 1792, both to be coming out with 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 in the near future. And yes, I think this for me is a bit more exciting than NVIDIA. I think mostly because we're actually seeing AMD make an honest to gosh effort to get cards in the hands of gamers, or at least maybe not say it that far, but at least say that they're trying to get cards out there at MSRP, their reference cards, which I appreciate. Even if, how much can you really stop bots and this and that? Hopefully they're doing their best to make sure that doesn't happen. But as far as I can tell, they're getting these out there.
Yeah, well, I have heard of real people getting them. So there must be ways to get around bots. Bots just exploit like crappy systems that are not prepared for bots. Like, buying something on Best Buy. You don't have to like find the bicycles or find the crosswalks or whatever stuff you would need to prevent a bot from making a purchase. It's just set up to just get your money as fast as possible. So they can very easily write a bot that will just buy stuff on, bestbuy.com or whatever. So if they're prepared for it, I'm sure they can stop it.
Well, hopefully they're taking all the steps to make that happen.
Yeah, NVIDIA just gave up.
They literally gave up. They literally was like, hey, Best Buy, we'll just give it to you and you can kind of figure that out. Yeah. And then get botted even harder than NVIDIA's own website was. So there's that. If you want a Founders Edition card, I know a place where you can actually get them, and it's called ebay.com. But they're very expensive, as you would expect. Do
you know how to read the specs of a graphics card?
What do you mean?
Like the cores or the ROPs or the TMUs or any of this other stuff?
Yeah, I just read them and I go, yes, very nice.
But like, like I don't know. Like, I feel like the two different companies report them differently. NVIDIA has like thousands of CUDA cores or whatever, and AMD has like 64 of something else.
Yeah, I like,
and like the Apple M1 chip has 8 GPU cores, and they're like really advertising that as a good thing, and I'm kind of like, NVIDIA has like thousands or something, I think, but I don't know if they're the same measurement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is where things have to come. You have to get specific about what you're looking for. And if you ever watch like my YouTube videos in the way that I kind of conclude things, is that things don't really matter that much. It's not people make such big deals of these minutiae, the differences. It comes down to, does it work for you? Does it get the job done? If it does, great. And when I look at the specs of these things, I don't know what half of it means. I look at how much the RAM has. I'm like, okay, and I relate it to how much it had before in the last generation. But what you have to do is go to these YouTubers, not me. This is not my job. I'm not going to be that guy who's going to be doing really deep analysis on cards and verses and things like that. That's not what I do. I have some fun tinkering with things, and I report what I find. But when it comes to graphics cards, you go to like Gamers Nexus or Jay's 2 Cents or even Linus Tech Tips. They go deep. They have the money. They have the resources to get in there. And you can look at it. Look at the verses. One of my favorites is actually those Australian guys over at Hardware Unboxed. And they'll give you and they will test deeply Tomb Raider to see what kind of frames per second you're getting with that graphics card. And I know that's very important to people, especially to you, Matt. What kind of frames per second you're getting in. He's gone offline.
Yeah, I heard Shadow of the Tomb Raider and I just tuned out.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But when you look at those and then you get to see, okay, it doesn't matter how many, what kind of RAM it has. If it's performing better, it doesn't matter if it has less RAM, right? And at the end of the day, those extra frames per second, for the most part, you're not going to notice from one to the other. Unless you're doing some really heavy stuff. Like, don't worry about it too much. Just buy what you can afford. But anyways, sorry. That was a nonsensical rant. What were we going to say?
So I'm just looking at the web pages of the various cards. So on NVIDIA, you look at the 3080 page, it advertises 8,704 CUDA cores. You go to AMD's 6800 XT page, and it advertises 72 compute units. It's just like, why are we even like, these things are not like for like, I'm guessing, if they're like similar performance. Like, is the technology just completely different, or are these different stats, or what? It's just it's just so weird to me that, like, where, I don't know. It's like, I guess you can only compare it to things from the same company. Like, you can say, okay, I guess the 6800 has 64 compute units or something, and the XT has 72 or something like that. But when you compare, when you compare it to NVIDIA, it's like we're talking a completely different language.
Yeah, and that was the point I tried to make. I think rather poorly, but that's what I meant. Is at the end of the day, how many frames per second is that card getting? Like, you could look at all these numbers all day long, but it doesn't mean anything until you actually put it to the test. So
yeah,
we won't know anything until that happens.
I know. It's just we look at, for this podcast, we look at so many articles, and they go into great detail about all these stats, and it's like, does it even mean anything to anybody? I'm sure it means something to somebody, but like, to the average Joe, like, you know, the guy, there was, I wish I had that still. There was some guy who was like listing all the reasons like why he wouldn't buy an AMD card. And one of them was like these silly like comparisons, like, oh, well, the NVIDIA has this many things and the AMD has only this many. It's like, I guess, you know, you can't really compare those things. It's not exactly the same. Anyway, I guess I'm just wondering, like, is the technology that different between them, where, you know, they I guess they must be. Like, AMD has Infinity Cache, and which is, I think, fairly different than what NVIDIA is using. Anyway, this is all well above my pay grade. So
yeah, well, like they obviously use different architecture. The way they're built up is different. The way they utilize software is going to be different. But at the end of the day, mostly they work generally the same way, and they're going to rasterize an image for you to see on a screen. So, like we talked about last week about the different technologies that AMD's creating, and it's going to be working for NVIDIA, but not vice versa. Things that are made specifically for NVIDIA aren't going to work on AMD cards. That's not necessarily AMD's fault, but I don't know what I'm saying right now. I'm just going
I
with
get
it.
you. Plug the thing in the slot, and then you can say hi to Master Chief.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works.
But yeah, it's funny how people get like all tribal about technology, like the whole Apple, you know, versus Windows thing, or NVIDIA versus AMD, Intel versus AMD. It's so funny. I'm not a loyalist in any way. I consider any of them a whatever, fanboy, whatever. You know, I had an Intel CPU, and then I bought an AMD one because it was the better one at the time. At this point, if I were to buy a graphics card, I'd have to look at all the data a little bit more deeply. I don't know. It's mostly a wash. Any graphics card you can pick up right now, especially since you can't really find them, would be awesome. But even if they were widely available, like, which one would you choose? Like, did you buy your AMD card because it was there, or because you legitimately wanted that AMD card?
I pretty much bought it. I don't know. It was kind of a weird, manic situation. I actually tried to buy a 3080, and it didn't go through. And then, I don't know. I can't remember my thought process, but then I bought a 6800 XT instead. I don't know. Like, you know what? It doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter all that much. You know, Well, I'm not going to say all these cards are a great deal, but some of them certainly are. And I don't know. I just didn't. I don't really feel like there's that big of a difference between the two. NVIDIA's got DLSS, which is nice. It sounds like I'll get a version of that in the coming months. But in general, like, I mean, most of the games I play, they're running just fine. I mean, the only one that's not running great is Cyberpunk. And when I say not running great, I mean I'm getting 90 FPS at 1440p with everything on maximum. No ray tracing though.
Unplayable.
Yeah, but still, like, actually, I turned on ray tracing today, and like, it's not that good. Like, it's supposed to be everything is reflecting and stuff, but like, there's actually no mirrors in that game. Like, there are mirrors, but you have to stop and interact with the mirror, and then the mirror turns on, and you can look at yourself in there. But if you walk by like a shiny window or something, like your player character doesn't reflect in it. It's just...
You mean when RTX is on?
When ray tracing is on, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, ray tracing. Sorry. See how good their marketing is? Damn.
Yeah, but I find, I don't know. I find it's not really worth it. It doesn't look that much better. I kind of prefer the other way, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the implementation. I think it's going to take a little while, maybe even like half a generation before this is going to turn into a thing that's not necessary, but it's going to be the actual game changer that they're saying it's going to be when they finally get it right. And that's going to be in the developer's hands, because we've seen a lot of the times where it's just overdone, or it's almost non-existent. Like it looks like it's rasterized. It just looks like maybe a little bit better. But in some cases I've seen that it looks really, really good. And I would like that. Like, for example, like we've talked about in the past, Minecraft looks amazing with ray tracing. And I think that's something that I want 100% of the time when I'm playing that game, for example. I saw a clip a friend of us shared from, I think it was Watch Dogs Legion, and it looked really good. And in certain cases, you could see where that changed the game, but it wasn't a game changer. If you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
Minecraft was really good because, I mean, it's typically a very flat game. Like, I mean, it's not, there's almost like no lighting in it. Like, it's just very flat. But turning on the ray tracing, like, suddenly, like, light and glass and things have like life and meaning. Like our base, we had a glass roof with a swimming pool on top, and when the sun is going over, you can see like when you're on the floor below the pool, you can see like the water, like the light dancing around in the water and stuff like that, like reflected on the floor. Like, it's really wild. But in these other games that already have like really amazing lighting implementations, like, I don't, it didn't really, it wasn't worth having my frame rate to have. Like, it didn't seem that much better.
No, but maybe we'll see something different. Like, when you finally get AMD's super resolution out, maybe that'll really rectify that situation, the frame rate situation. But then again, if you don't put the ray tracing on and you just put the super resolution on, you're getting more frames anyways. Like, for example, like you were saying in Cyberpunk, right? Like, getting those extra frames to max out your monitor would be better than having 90 frames and ray tracing on.
Yeah, I just think in general, like with Cyberpunk, I didn't find the ray tracing to be that much better than like their normal rasterized implementation of lighting, which, looked really great anyways.
Yeah.
Something else I played around. I'll just, since we're talking about this kind of stuff, Assetto Corsa, which we've talked about a little bit. It's a racing game. Tons of crazy mods for it. We've been playing that Shitoko Revival Project, SRP.
Yeah.
On Friday, I spent like half my evening trying to get some things to work. There's something called Custom Shader Pack, I believe it is. Does that sound right? It's CSP anyways.
Yep.
There's like, if you support the guy who makes that on Patreon, you get a special version, which includes rain, which is just unbelievable. The rain is crazy realistic. The reflections on the road, like this is like, this is without, RTX or whatever. It's definitely very costly in terms of performance, but it's so amazing. I was just blasting around, the streets of, or the highways of Tokyo in heavy rain with my wipers going, and like even the rain on the windshield looks amazing. When you pause the game, you can see that every drop is actually a mesh. Like it's extremely realistic. There's the spray of the cars in front of you. The spray is not as great, but it still adds to the effect. Just super cool. I also put an F1 car in there, and I was just screaming around in the rain. There's raindrops on my visor. It's like almost impossible to see. It's just amazing. This is all at night, so you can imagine like all the lights of Tokyo and the street lights reflecting on the wet ground, the rain coming down. Like it was just so cool. We need to help you set that up because it's another level. Like that's.
Do you think my computer can handle it?
I don't know, to be honest. I was at like 90 FPS, so it wasn't like the end of the world. But it was it's definitely costly, and you can of course make adjustments. I had everything pretty much maxed. But that was amazing. And like it's all the reflections were real. You know what I mean? Like it was on the road, you were seeing the actual reflections of the street lights, and I went across that rainbow bridge or whatever that was reflected, and like it's not RTX or what have you.
It looked really good. You've shared some screen cap of it, and you're playing that multiplayer, right? Or it's not multiplayer, but you played with like AI or something.
Yeah.
And it looked fantastic. Like the rain coming down, and even the spray. Like I don't know what it was like to have that actually on screen versus the screen cap, but it looked really good. Where you can't see the car until you actually have to pass it. Like it's just it's hidden behind its own spray. But it looks like a lot of fun. But I think my computer might melt if I try to play that. Like that game doesn't get very good frames per second as it is on my PC.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You could try putting it down to 1080 or something. It might, you could survive with that.
Yeah, I can try that. Sure. Yeah, but that man, with the Assetto Corsa, just trying to tinker with it and get all the things working correctly can really be a pain in the butt. But once you kind of figure it out, it makes sense, and it's not too hard, especially with the content manager. It makes it pretty straightforward. You just drag and drop the zip files into there. But I don't know about this whole rain thing. It seems a bit more involved.
Well, I got to the point where I completely broke it and I couldn't even start the game, and I made my way back. So I know a thing or two now. I can help you I can help you get it set up.
All right. Remote desktop it is. I'm having fun with that though. This Shitoku revival project. It's just fun to drive around. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
If you don't have a racing wheel, I'm not saying get one, but get one. It makes racing games a totally different experience. It's something else.
Absolutely. Like I previously rated Assetto Corsa as complete garbage. But after getting the wheel, and of course also stumbling upon this incredible mod community, there's web page called racedepartment.com, which is just all a bunch of, where people, mod makers post their mods for racing games. There are 16,000 mods for Assetto Corsa. That includes tracks and cars and, add-ons like shaders and like all this crazy stuff. It's pretty amazing. I might have a new wheel in my near future.
Oh, you mean like to go on your wheel hub?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Like one of those OMP ones? OMPs?
I don't know. Are those compatible with mine? Or are you saying like I would buy a hub and then put a real
you
wheel?
need the hub. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is that I really still kind of want the vibration in the wheel rim.
Yeah.
And if you like bring your own like actual car steering wheel and attach it to the hub, you don't get that.
Okay.
So I'm looking at there's like a BMW GT2 wheel. Fanatec wheel.
Fanatec. Let's see. I want to see this thing. Club Sport steering wheel, BMW GT2. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's a basic wheel. Wow, it's expensive. Holy. This is one expensive hobby. Just having,
Sure
doing the computer thing to begin with, and then you add the racing thing on top of it. Whoosh.
Yeah.
Whoosh.
So this is I guess in terms of Fanatec stuff, this is a mid-range wheel. There's a cheaper one. There's a WRC one, which, I mean, would be kind of what I would really want. I want like a properly round wheel. I love rally games. But again, it doesn't have the vibration motors in the wheel, which is
right.
Really adds
to it for sure.
Yeah, because it's so configurable. So, yeah, I'm looking at this BMW one. There's also a Porsche.
Yeah.
There's a Porsche one, which is like a higher end one.
Yeah.
What is it called?
When you look at these people who have really crazy setups and it's like $100,000 racing sim setup, like how can you spend $100,000 on a racing sim setup? And then you look at it and you're like, okay, it makes sense. They got triple monitors, huge monitors.
Yeah.
They got a motion rig. They got like the top of the line racing seat and cockpit. It adds up, man, real fast.
Yeah, there's another Porsche one which is even more expensive, which I was looking at, but
no longer available.
The Porsche one?
Is it the suede one?
No, it's a leather one. But I kind of had like a moral, ethical issue with the leather steering wheel. That's just me, though.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's going to add to my credit card, so I have to stop. I don't look at the Fanatec site anymore because it's just too tempting. It's far too tempting.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to get a lot better by the end of this year. They seem to be really on their way to making more affordable products.
Yes.
Like they have a new factory, which is, and they're actually using robots and stuff to build equipment. I think there was a lot of handmade stuff up till now.
Yeah.
So the production costs are pretty high. So yeah, they're really working on becoming, they're looking to probably displace like Logitech and Thrustmaster in the near future.
Which is crazy because when you think of Fanatec, it's just like it's the people for the people who are into sim racing, not just like, oh yeah, I'll pick up a wheel, I'll use it every once in a while for whatever, playing Forza on my Xbox. Mm-hmm. To being that thing, to actually say, hey, this is going to be on the shelves of a Best Buy. Not necessarily, but it's in that spec, or at least in that price range where you could afford it, which is pretty cool to think if you could get a really pretty good setup for, under $500.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
anyways,
what was my bundle? The F1 bundle that I bought was, I think that was $5.99 US.
Okay.
It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. But it ain't direct drive.
Yeah, it's still pretty darn good though. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to put it down or anything.
yeah, I'm impressed. You know, I wasn't sure what to expect, but yeah, the sucker can definitely yank you around.
I believe it. I want to try it. Like I said, I'm jealous. But I want to get back to the graphics cards. Like we said, we're expecting probably an announcement in the near future, probably by before the end of June. Some are saying that it might actually show up in the virtual E3. AMD might announce them then. But moving over to the NVIDIA side, we had more information. We're not really going to talk about too much, but more information about the 3080 Ti and the 3070 Ti coming from the Supreme versions from MSI and the 3070 Ti. I want to just put my finger on this. Still only 8 gigabytes. They're not moving up from that 8 gigabytes. Like what are you doing? My 1070, and I know it's better RAM. It's not. I got GDDR5 on that thing. It's got GDDR6. Still same 8 gigabytes.
On which one?
On the Ti version.
Oh yeah.
Mine has 8 gigabytes. The 3070 Ti has 8 gigabytes.
And the 6600 XT?
The 6600 XT and the 6600 will have 8 gigabytes.
Yeah.
But I feel like those are lower spec. Like you could accept that because it's in
I
line
think
with
they
like the 3060 Ti.
Yeah, they also have Infinity Cache too, I believe, which like increases the memory bus width.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile, same thing. Like the RTX 3060 Ti has 8 gigabytes. The RTX 3060 has 12. I believe that's right.
I think we've been over this once or twice.
We've talked about this.
The 3060.
Don't need to rant about this anymore. That's fine. All right. Moving on to some Chia Coin. And we talked a little bit about this last week. This article is from Tom's Hardware, and it reads, Chia crypto plotting can destroy an SSD in weeks. So if you're new to the podcast or you don't know about Chia Coin, essentially, like you'd have with Ethereum or Bitcoin, you use your GPU to mine the coin. Well, in this case with Chia Coin, it uses your SSD or your hard drive, and essentially it does this plotting, and it's using the power in the space on your drives to mine this coin. And from what they've found, consumer SSDs, what they have a limit. So when it comes to SSDs, there's a limit on how much can be written to that particular drive. It's about 600 terabyte writes. 600? Yeah. And anyway, so what they're saying is if you were to mine crypto with an SSD that's consumer grade, that's 500 gigabytes, it would run out. It'd be dead in 40 days. In just 40 days, you could kill an SSD, which is mental because you'd normally expect that to last at least 5 years for a typical user. So to think that you can run this thing into the ground in that short space, just a few weeks, is amazing. It's crazy to think like we're just throwing stuff in the trash. We're producing these drives, these electronics, just wasting them so we can make this imaginary currency. You know, I just talked about bought Bitcoin and stuff, but like it's just weird, man. Like it's still can't get my head around it.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
It is weird. Hopefully Chia can be the next thing so we can,
Yeah, we already have hard drives and stuff. We don't need that. So go ahead, go crazy, miners. Just buy all the HDDs and SSDs and drive the prices up so that you can get off the GPU so we can buy some of those.
Right.
Is that what you're saying, Matt?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
And let's see NVIDIA's CMP cards go directly into the landfill. Just as they're being launched. Nobody needs them anymore.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so if you're interested in mining Chia, well, you probably want to go with something that's more consumer grade, not consumer grade, but enterprise grade, something that's going to last longer, but it's going to cost more. And that being the fact, since Chia has become more popular in the past few weeks, the prices of these things have skyrocketed, and it's going to be even harder to find anything like that. If you want a high capacity HDD or one of these, I keep saying consumer grade, but you know what I mean. Enterprise grade SSDs, the prices are just skyrocketing. And apparently it's even happening with consumer grade SSDs and HDDs that are higher capacity, even though they're probably not best suited for this task. But it appears as though people are making a profit because people are buying into it, right? What's the price of Chia Coin right now? Chia Coin value. Let's see. It's got to be something. The network? Whoa. Wow. It's more than I expected. I thought it was going to be in the Doge territory. No. One Chia Coin is worth $1,436 USD. It's not nothing, that's for sure. Wow.
Yeah, I wonder what people I don't know. Like what's a reasonable amount to expect from, I don't know, like there's a measurement in Ethereum mining of the hash rate or whatever. So you can expect to make, if you've got 100 mega hashes or whatever, you can make, let's say, $200 a month or something like that. So I'm like wondering for Chia, like, is it for 5 terabytes, you can make this much in USD per month or whatever? I'm curious about that.
Yeah. It's something that I haven't looked too deeply into. From the things that I've read so far, it looks like what people are doing is they're putting in RAID configurations of SSDs to get really high speed, but then somehow pairing it with really high capacity HDDs to like store the plotting or anything. I can't go too deep into this stuff because I just don't have the time for it. But I'm not sure. I'm curious though too. Maybe it's something we need to put on the list of things we need to talk about in the near future. When I type in chia, I'm getting chia seeds, health benefits.
Yeah, I've made. What did I make? I made something where you I don't know if it was like some kind of like overnight thing. You put some chia seeds in some
overnight oats.
It was like that, except maybe it was overnight oats and I added chia seeds too. And yeah, they're pretty good. They kind of I don't know how to explain what they're like. They just become big and gooey, although they're very tiny to start with.
Yeah, they do absorb a lot of water.
Yeah.
Speaking about chia. Yeah, chia is a weird one because it is a very new coin. We talked about it a few weeks ago before it was actually on the market and created. In fact, it only became on the market, I think it was on May 3rd or May 2nd. And immediately the price was already at, it looks like almost $1,800. And it has not hit that peak since. It came down sharply to as low as $560, bounced back up to somewhere in the $1,400 range, shimmied around a bit, and now it's gotten close to the peak, but it's still not up there as high as it was originally. So it looks like people clocked in real hard and then just, it looks like, paper hands. Somebody, whoever created it maybe, I don't know what's going on, but had some of it and then sold a lot of it for it to drop that sharply a day after or the same day it was released. That's fishy. It's all fishy.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just the nature of things, I guess.
Yeah. So, there's so much depressing news in this space right now, isn't there? I want some excitement. I want to feel a new graphics card in my hand. I want to open up that box and smell it and really get hands-on with it. It's just not happening anymore, you know?
I think you're going to be, if you do get one of the higher end cards, I think you're going to be pretty shocked at how ginormous they are.
I don't know if it's going to fit my case.
Yeah. Well, you can get the measurements. Like they are super long.
Yeah. I think I got 12 inches. 12 and a half maybe of space.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's like 30 centimeters
most of them are
or
like
something.
above 13. But yeah, I saw somebody had, so I got the fractal define, whatever R something it is, compact. But I saw somebody, I think it was on the AMD subreddit. It was one of the subreddits they were showing off their machine, and it was a fractal, but I think it was a regular case or the extended one. And I couldn't believe how massive it was, how much room it had in the front. It was like super long. It probably had like, I don't know, 8 to 10 hard drive bays, but it just looks so weird after sitting beside this one for so long now. It's almost like a caricature of my own computer. Like, for example, you have a Lian Li case, yeah?
Yeah.
And is it one that's kind of like boxy, not boxy, but, you know, less of a traditional shape?
Yeah, it's a big wide boy. It's a dual chamber. It's the Lian Li 011 DXL, I think, in silver.
I remember that.
So it's dual chamber. So it has, like, behind the motherboard, there's room for your power supply, for drive bays, and, you know, a giant mess of wires. And it's glass on the front, so the front intakes are on the side, the front side.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm looking at pictures of it right now.
Yeah.
I've seen it before. But it seems like a more popular case that's coming around. Not necessarily just Lian Li, but like that more style, having the dual chamber, having that space in the back for drives. But I think that's pretty cool, though. I mean,
it's super nice to get the PSU like out of there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, if you happen to like, I recently in my little server, my PSU died and I was stuck for a little while. I can't remember. I guess it was kind of hard to get a power supply. So I borrowed one from a friend, and it was like a non-modular power supply. So every single cable for any hard drive or graphics card or anything you could ever need is just sticking out of it. So you just have this mess of wires that you're just like, what do I do with all these things? But, you know, I mean, most of us have transitioned to fully modular or semi-modular. But anyways, it's still really nice that, you know, any wires, like you can hide as many wires as possible. So it's not like you've got your power supply at the bottom of your case and, you know, the power cable for your CPU, you know, leaves the bottom of your case and then reemerges at the top. The power supply for the power cord for your motherboard, same thing. Leaves the bottom of your case, goes around the back, and then comes into your motherboard. It's just everything just appears from behind. It's just makes for a much cleaner build. You've also got lots more room. Like I have 3 upward facing fans on the bottom of my case. Like that, those couldn't really exist. You know, I'd probably only have 1 or 2 possible if a power supply was there. It just leaves more like breathing room for the GPU, which is also nice.
I think what's becoming more popular as well is PSU shrouds. Like mine has that, so you don't see a power supply. Hides itself under this little metal thing. There's another case I do have as well, which is an NZXT something. It looked a lot like my old case, but just a mid-sized tower, not a full tower. And I think it has something similar, like some kind of shroud. I'm not sure. But my old one did not at all. And I think you're right, though. Like, just having it hidden, whether it's in this dual chamber or it's got a shroud, it just looks
like also
looks
like
nice.
the hard drive / SATA SSD bays are also in the back. So my previous case was, it was an NZXT Tempest 410 Elite or something. No, it's not that. It's similar to that. I think it's like Tempest H410 or something like that. And like the whole front of the case, there are two fans in the front of the case, but like the whole front of it is just like cages for hard drives or DVD drives or whatever else.
Sorry, what? A DVD drive?
Yeah.
Optical drives.
And then, I love this Lian Li case because just all this stuff, there's so much stuff just moved to the back. And it's so much easier to work on my computer now because because so many things have been moved to the back. I'm not worried about like SATA cables and SATA power and all these other things that are typically like in the way when you're just trying to reconfigure something in your rig. So it's nice. Definitely recommend looking into a dual chamber PC case.
So do you think, like we talked about movie reviewers previously, do you think you could add yourself to the list of case reviewers to be trusted? Stamped it, M.A.T.T?
No, I don't know about that. I mean, I trusted Gamers Nexus who said this case is one of the best airflow cases in existence.
I would agree with that. Like, not necessarily that specific statement, but yeah, agreeing with them for sure. It's just great content. Like they really go deep on everything they do. It's crazy. Does Steve have a podcast yet?
I don't know.
He's too busy. He's too busy already working on all of the projects he's going, like whatever he's doing over there.
I think he was like lighting power supplies on fire the other day.
Wow. Not surprised. That's awesome. All right. We got another story here. This is maybe not a story, but just a think piece and something that I thought it was pretty neat. And obviously, like most things, Matt put this here in the show notes, and then I went to put it in the show notes, and I saw, he already put it in the show notes. Okay. He's always ahead of me on these things. Anyways, we talked about GTA for the past 2 shows, and we're talking about it again here. And we've got here, using AI, they've made GTA 5 look, I'm putting air quotes here. They don't have air quotes, but photorealistic and quite boring, reads the article. This is PC Gamer. I don't think it looks necessarily quite boring. In fact, I think this looks pretty cool. Go check this out. It's on youtube.com, and the title of the video is Enhancing Photorealism Enhancement. That's what the video is. And this is published on May 10th on the Intel ISL YouTube channel. It's an 8-minute long video. It goes pretty deep into the nerdy that went over my head, these different layers and stuff. But essentially, what you're going to see is GTA made to look photorealistic. And from my perspective, it looks as though it's a dash cam inside of GTA 5. It's super weird. Like it's almost uncanny. Like it looks like a dash cam video, but in GTA 5.
Yeah, it's like...
It's impressive.
Yeah, there are moments where it fools my eyes.
Yeah.
But then you see the familiar way that cars move around in GTA, and you can immediately like see that it's a video game.
Yeah.
Just how car wheels just instantly turn rather than like slowly turn like they would in real life.
Yeah.
But it's fair.
Yeah, there's a few of them that are in there. The first one that they actually have for the first few minutes of the video. Yeah, it's like you said, you can tell. Like you're looking at it, you can tell this is not real. But it does fool you at moments, and it puts that in uncanny spot. It's weird, like it's unusual. The ones later in the video, not as much. It's more the ones in the beginning that are really, really good. But it kind of points to the fact and where we're going with this technology. where it's going to actually, maybe you don't even have to really rasterize really high detail. It's using AI to upscale this stuff, already like we're seeing with NVIDIA, and we expect to see with AMD with their Fidelity FX suite super resolution. We're going to see with this, like I could see in maybe like 5 years, Intel or NVIDIA or AMD comes out with their software. Oh, we have, what are they? They're going to name it something weird, but it's going to essentially just be like, oh, here's our AI photorealism suite. And you just click a button. It's going to be integrated in certain games where you can turn it on to make it look photoreal.
Yeah, well, I think, I think it might. Yeah, I mean, it would obviously require tons more power than we have available now. I'm sure this is created by like a generative adversarial network over who knows how long, days or weeks or whatever. But still, I mean, in the future, when they're developing video games, they could just, make the basic framework of what they want their city to look like or whatever, if it's GTA 27 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just tell the computer to dream in the detail, like dream the rest of it. Like make this look realistic completely. And, the computer would dream in everything. 'Cause, I mean, it's sort of what's happening. It's the computer is like dreaming what this would look like based on what it knows about what real life looks like.
Yeah, and it does a relatively good job of it. It's going to improve in the next few years, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops. From what I've read and from what I hear in the video, they say it's interactive, but I don't know exactly what that means. Like, I don't know if that means like, oh, they're playing this in real time and it's working. They don't explicitly say that from what I can remember. So I don't know how well at the moment this modification is playable. I don't know. I can't imagine it runs at a high frame rate. I don't know if they're doing this in like 30 frames per second. And even when you watch the video, it looks like it's in 30 frames per second. That could just be the video. I don't know. But this is not something that you can just download as a modification at the moment for GTA 5 and implement. But just as a test of concept, it's impressive. I just need to watch it over and over again because it's like, it really does fool you at moments.
Yeah.
Super strange. But yeah, the turning of the car is definitely it just takes you right out.
Yeah.
As soon as the car turns, it's like, okay, that's a game. Oh, it's strange. It's really strange.
Yeah.
Wait till they do it with the people. That's when it's going to be, oh no, no. It's going to be bad. Hopefully good, but also bad at moments, I'm sure. Like, how do you feel about the uncanny valley? Like, there's certain places, we talked about this, we were talking about Sonic with the new Sonic movie in the uncanny valley, but certain things where people have said, oh, that looks uncanny. I'm like, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't know. It's not doing that weird brain thing to me.
I don't think Sonic the Hedgehog counts as uncanny valley because that was just uncanny valley is like as you're approaching realism, there's a point where it gets more and more and more and more and more realistic until it takes a big dip down into what they call the uncanny valley before it rises up again to perfect realism. So if you watch that Final Fantasy and like any of the Final Fantasy CG movies, like Spirits Within or something like that, I guess that movie's probably like 20 years old, so it probably doesn't look as good anymore. But there are moments where it just looks sort of real, but then something, a little weird eye movement or tick or something like just looks not real. And that's when it becomes kind of weird. And that's the uncanny valley, I guess. There's also something, Unreal has a thing, I've just put it in our Discord chat there, called the metahuman. Have you seen this?
No.
So it's like a service that you can like build a human in, basically, for use in video games or whatever. And it's pretty like this is definitely uncanny valley territory, where it's just like they look so real, but it's just a little weird.
Wow. Some of them, like a few of them, like there's this looping clip when you open up this. This is at unrealengine.com/en-us/digital-humans. Maybe I'll put the link there. It'll be in the show notes for sure for those of you on Patreon. But I'll try to remember this for the YouTube. But there's a looping video, and a few of them, I thought it was originally just a person at first. Wow. The one woman looks super real. It's freaking me out a little bit. Oh, this is strange.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, man. We're getting there. Well, you like that website. There's a website, it's called like This Person Doesn't Exist or whatever.
Yeah.
When you can start doing that with video, we're going deeper and deeper into this world where what is real. Like you think about, when people talk about the simulation theory, we're going to get to the point where virtual reality is real virtual reality, where you can actually go in there and fool your brain to the fullest extent. And at that point, like what is, oh no, brain's doing that thing now. Freaking myself out.
Okay, why don't you instead go to thesecatsdonotexist.com.
What? No, this is even worse.
Worse?
Oh. Okay, these don't look quite as... Wait a minute. Oh, no. This is weird. Okay, there's some of these pictures where there's like a human in the picture, and they looked really weird.
Oh, yeah? I haven't seen any of those.
It's creeping me out. Yeah, there's these weird things like...
Oh, Jesus
like
Christ, I saw one.
What the hell?
What is
morphed.
that?
Yeah, it's a hybrid human.
Okay, I'll put...
I've seen like these AI generated pictures where nothing in it is anything. It's like a big mishmash of parts of images or something. Mm-hmm. And as you look at it, you almost think you see things like in the corner of your eye, in the periphery. But then you look at it, you're like, wait, like that's not familiar. What is that? Like it doesn't even look like anything. It like fools your brain to think you're actually looking at a photo, but nothing in the photo actually is anything when you actually examine it. It's super weird. Stuff like that, man. And to think that you can build an image to make it look like a cat or a human.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I don't... It's too weird seeing a human generated by the cat generator.
Yeah, yeah. Don't do that. That's not working at all. It's not even uncanny valley territory. It's just terrifying. Yeah, but you think if you mix all these things together, right? AI technology, we actually converse with imaging technology, like you're saying with this digital human from Unreal Engine, and you're going to have a situation like Her, like that movie with Joaquin Phoenix. Wow. We are living in the future, my friend. This is something else.
Pretty wild.
It is really wild. Maybe we can get a face for you, Matt. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh no, you put it. No. Well, if you're one of the patrons, you can go to the show notes and you can take a look at this wonderful picture of the kitty next to what appears to be, I don't know what it is. It's supposed to be a human, but it definitely doesn't look like that. Valve's Gabe Newell hints at possible plan for consoles. So he was, I don't know if he was in Auckland, New Zealand, or he was talking to students over Zoom who were in Auckland, New Zealand. Anyways, he was talking to students at Santa Maria College in New Zealand, and they asked him a question about the future of Valve's IP And will Steam be porting any games on consoles, or will it just stay on PC? And he answered them with a mysterious and typical, "You'll get a better idea of that by the end of this year, and it won't be the answer you expect. You'll say, aha, now I get what he was talking about." And that's the vague answer that he gave about the titles from Steam and their IP, and if it's coming to consoles. So,
any theories?
What can we? Yeah, let's do some little speculation. I'll get the.
Are you getting the tinfoil hat?
I got the Yeah, put the hat on over the top of my headphones. Doesn't quite work. I haven't put this on in a while. Gabe Newell, the man himself.
Okay, I have an idea.
Yes.
Maybe it is an Oculus Quest competitor. It's a VR console.
You know, Matt, that's better than anything I could have thought of. That seems very plausible, actually. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Although, Valve is very tied to PC. I mean, should this exist, it would definitely plug into a PC. I just wonder, though. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like a lot of things are possible, now that Apple has this M1 chip, which can run like x86 code and stuff like that, emulated pretty efficiently. You never know what kind of things might be out there, what kind of things might be possible. It might not just be like, okay, it runs Android and you have to use Android apps or something. But it would be very nice to have a competitor to the Oculus Quest.
I agree.
I think.
And if they do that, I'm going to predict they're going to call it the Valve Glossary.
The Valve Table of Contents.
Yes. You're welcome. It's my dad joke of the day. Valve Index. Anyways, I'll take this thing off. It's getting hot already. It's already hot enough in here. Don't put that near the electronics.
Yeah. I think HTC had they announced a new VR headset recently.
HTC did.
HTC. The Vive Focus 3, and I believe it is wireless, like a all-in-one device. Yeah, it is. But it seems to be geared towards business, which is boring.
I just clicked on a VR YouTube channel that I've never seen before. He's got like 500,000 subscribers. I've never seen this guy before, which is so strange. I thought I knew people in the VR space, but apparently I don't.
There have been so many who have come after us.
Yeah, that's fair.
What's his name?
It's Virtual Reality Oasis.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know.
He looks kind of like me. Yeah, I mean, Vive's one of those companies where, like, from all the things I've heard about people's experience with the Vive and dealing with HTC itself, specifically customer support, it just seems like a bad thing to go towards. But who knows if they're changing that?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is almost $1,800 device geared towards business.
Wow.
So
okay.
Stay away.
Never mind.
Yeah, we had to do that. I used to be involved in VR development briefly, and we had to deal with HTC to get my Vive sent to me, and yeah, it was confusing for sure, because Steam like designed it, but HTC built or like manufactured it and was fulfilling orders, and I don't know, it was kind of weird. Then they started trying to make their own store and all that with like Viveport, when all anybody really wanted was just Steam.
Yeah. I'd forgotten about that until you just said it. Like, I forgot about Viveport. I definitely had an account with them. Do they still exist right now? That's a question.
Yeah, I don't know. They tried doing like a Game Pass
5-port
almost kind of thing. Yeah,
5port.com. Subscribe now. Looks like it's still here. Interesting. I wonder how much use it's getting. Like, is it popular or not? But like, Oculus is obviously popping off. It has to be with the popularity of the Oculus Quest. Man, that thing is, it's up there. Yeah. I haven't tried it yet. I've tried the Oculus Quest, the original one. It was great. Like, honestly, fantastic. Not as powerful as what you'd have when you had, it plugged into your machine, but really good. And now, I mean, I think you can stream content from your machine wirelessly to the Quest.
Yeah, I think so.
Just like, that's pretty cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of, I'd really like to try it, but actually my local library, I think, has the first one available to sign out or whatever, but I don't know if I'll be doing that anytime soon. Man,
I just want to try the Valve Index. I want to see what that would be like. I've heard it's not that much. It's not like some revolutionary headset. It's just somewhat better than what you'd get with like an Oculus Rift or whatever for a lot more money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing, so like the Steam VR implementation is much better in that you have these lighthouse devices, which don't need to be plugged into your computer. So you can literally throw one across the room and, just put it up in a corner on the top of a bookshelf. You can put another one on another part of your room. You can pretty much just put them anywhere it just works. And they communicate to each other wirelessly. They communicate to your computer wirelessly. It's pretty good. Well, I mean, it's definitely better than Oculus's original implementation, which is, 1 or 2 or 3 cameras, and they all need really good fast USB ports. Although I think if you're doing 3, you only need 1, or one of them can be on USB 2. But anyway, it's just super janky. And if they get moved even a tiny bit, like you got to redo the whole setup process. There's just so many wires and everything with early VR. I wish I could get an Oculus Quest 2 to get rid of those wires.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot.
But the problem also is that the Oculus Rift S, it doesn't have the cameras, but otherwise it's a downgrade from the original Rift.
Yep.
It's like I think the resolution is worse. It's like an LCD
lower frame rate
screen instead of OLED screen. The refresh rate is lower. It's, I don't know, just everything about it just seems like not an upgrade.
No.
Then there's the whole Facebook thing. I think we've talked about that before. Yeah. I just really love some competition. So anyway, back to Valve. No, go ahead.
You could see the difference though, like when you want to go into the Valve ecosystem, like you can use the Oculus Rift S with Steam, right?
Yeah.
The Valve Index, you can't use Oculus, right? They're walled garden over Oculus.
I don't know.
They open it up, or they have some kind of like
sure. Actually,
port or something maybe. But the point I wanted to make though was the prices, right? And how much more expensive when you wanted to go the Valve route. There's so many more options now. You got like the Windows mixed reality headset, or there's got to be like HP has one as well. Yeah, but like the Oculus Quest 2, from what I've heard, like just great things all around. $629 Canadian for the 256 gigabyte version. You can go as low as $459 for the 64 gigabyte version. And when you want to go into the Valve ecosystem, you have to get, you need the controllers, you need the things on the wall, the sensors, or the what do they call them? Beacons or lighthouse system, like you mentioned.
Yeah, lighthouses.
$1,320 Canadian. That's over double.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
Very expensive. But also, a great headset. I've heard really good things about the Valve Index as well, especially their headphone implementation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then again, like when I use the original Oculus Quest, they don't have like headphones that hang over your ears or even go on top of your ears. You can plug in a headset from what I know, but it has like these little speakers that blast out kind of in the direction of your ears. And I was impressed on how well it actually, or how good it sounded. It's pretty good. It's worth a listen.
Yeah. So
worth the check out.
Do you have any theories about what Gabe could be talking about?
Honestly, it's like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, they're not going to do some kind of Steam machine. They tried that before. Did not work. Like, people didn't buy into that. Like, you're going to build a computer and just load Steam onto it just so you can load up Steam? Nah. People didn't do that. I don't think they're going to do anything like that. It's not going to be NVIDIA Shield, something like that. I think you're right. Like, I thought about it. I'm like, what are they going to do? I thought maybe they're going to try to open up their ecosystem like Windows is doing, and they're going to do some kind of like Game Pass for Steam, maybe something like that. That maybe you can implement that into like PS4 or Xbox. But I don't think Microsoft or Sony would be into that idea. I think you're right. You're right.
I'd also really love to see them do something very cool and technological. Like some kind of interesting translation software or something like that to, allow you to play, I don't know, PC games on Mac or Linux or something like that. We know they hate Windows. The Steam machines were going to be Linux machines. I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
I think you're right. It's been a while.
Yeah. But, I don't know. We'll see. It is a weird thing. It's also entirely possible, knowing Valve, that nothing will happen by the end of the year.
Okay. A single Valve Index base station is $200? What?
Yes, but if you had a Vive, you can use your old base stations.
Yeah, but still, like, the Vive was expensive. Sorry to go back to this, but it was still open on my page here. Man, that's expensive. Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, when you buy the whole set, it's they're cheaper together.
Yeah, you save $50.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool that there is interoperability with the old stuff. So if you did have a Vive, you could buy just the Index headset, and then slowly over time upgrade your controllers to the Knuckles ones. Upgrade your lighthouses, which have slightly better tracking abilities. Although the original Vive lighthouses were like unreal, just amazing how they could track you like from every direction.
It was so good.
Yeah,
it was really good. Yeah, I remember trying it for the first time, and it was like I was taken aback. Like there was no stutters that I could ever find. Like I was trying to push the limits of it too, and it was really good. When it came to Oculus, it was like every session there was something that would probably go wrong. Nothing catastrophic, but sometimes the controller would just disappear in the virtual world. It would just start floating off, and you're like, "Where's? Oh, okay, bye." Weird stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, I think we're gonna cut the show here. It's been a slice.
Mail.
Oh yes, our mail. Sorry, we got a message here from
see the giant
PM.
arrow I put.
Oh, I thought you were trying to draw a phallic device. Why is my num key not working? Damn it!
You want me to help you there?
I got it. That's for you.
Okay.
Our wonderful patrons. Sorry, this is from PM. Replying to when we talked about Satisfactory last week. It says, Satisfactory, if you want to play with your Steam friends, link your Steam and Epic accounts, and then joining your Steam friends is a lot easier. Hopefully your friends also have an Epic account, and you can be friends on both platforms or support Coffee Stain and buy another copy on Steam. Yes, I enjoy it quite a lot. Multiplayer is still a little beta, The net code needs refinement still. Mod support is still in the works, but single-player mods work quite well with SMM. And yes, I collect my free games every week, referring to Epic Games. So there's the 2 cents from PM. So thank you for that. This whole integration with Steam and Epic Friends, it seems like I'm only experiencing it with one game, and that's Rocket League. And it seems like every time I try to connect it, it doesn't work. And then every time I log into Rocket League, it reminds me to do it. It's just like, It's like, get it out of the way. I got the Steam Friends. I don't need the extra hassle.
Yeah, thank you for your message, PM.
Yes, thank you.
I have linked my Steam and Epic things, but I have basically like nobody else uses Epic, so it's not like I'm going to be playing Satisfactory and one of my friends is going to come online and see like, oh, what are you playing there? Oh, what's that game? Oh, maybe I'll get it and we can play together. It's like nobody's ever on Epic, so that's just, that's the problem. If I was on Steam, like that happens quite frequently, where pretty much everybody I know has Steam running at all times. So when you're playing games, it pops up and it's like, oh, some so-and-so is playing this game. And you're like, oh, what is this game? You check it out and then you're like, hey, how's that game? And, you buy it and you start playing together. I don't have those experiences on Epic. I almost certainly will buy another copy of Satisfactory. I would like to support Coffee Stain. They've made some amazing things. Even before Satisfactory, Goat Simulator was, it should have won Game of the Year like multiple years in a row. But yeah, it would be nice if there was like a bit of a sale or something, and maybe I will pick up Satisfactory again.
It looks exactly like the kind of game I would like to play, and I think I'm going to get into it.
I think you would like it.
Just looking at it, it makes me think of that old Star Wars game. It was like a pit droid game for PC, and it was a puzzle game, and it was just so much fun. Like just that problem solving thing. Is that what I'm getting from this? Like that's what it looks like.
I don't know the game you're talking about. Star Wars Pit Droid's 1999 video game.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same, but it just gave me that nostalgia look. It just made me feel like that a little bit, just looking at this game. So I was like, I want to check this out, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
What can I compare it to? I've never played the game, but people say it's like Factorio. I say it's probably, from my experience, it's very similar to some kind of modded Minecraft, like Tekkit or something like that, where you're basically, it starts out pretty much like Minecraft, like chopping down trees and mining things. And then you just start building devices. Like you suddenly build a device that will do your mining for you. And, then you start building metal parts so you can build more buildings, and you eventually make rail systems. You need to find oil at some point, so you need to get a drilling situation. You need to mine for coal to power your everything. Like you just start building this enormous factory on, this beautiful alien world. It's like, there's a bit of a little bit of the No Man's Sky kind of vibe, like in that you're on an alien world and you look around and do stuff and collect things.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that when watching some of the gameplay.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. You can definitely get lost in that.
Yikes. There's so many games new that I can get lost in, but also old ones. Like it's this pile up of things. Like we talked about last week, Age of Empires totally sucked me away this week. Like I was playing it for like 2 hours today, played it for like almost 2 hours yesterday. Like just trying new skirmishes and things and upping the difficulties and this and that.
Was that like a remastered version, or is that the original?
Yeah, it's the definitive edition.
So is it like updated graphics and stuff, or
a little? Like all of the like the UI is updated. You can easily play it on whichever resolution you want to play it on. And some of the sprites I think are updated, but I think those are pulled from the HD version that came out, many years ago. I think.
Is it on
is it on
Game
fun.
Pass or anything like that?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's still fun, and it's still a great game. But this looks great. How much is it? $33. I might pick it up. I'll put it on the wish list at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, again, thank you for your message, PM. We appreciate it. And I think we're going to cut the show here. It's been a slice, and I hope the video turned out okay for everybody last week. We got a couple comments on that. So thank you. Thank you for everybody for watching. If you're watching on the YouTubes, please leave us a like. It helps a lot. I really appreciate it. If you're listening on iTunes or anywhere like that, you know what to do. Rate it. Do the whole thing. It really it helps not just my own personal satisfaction in doing this a little bit, but it helps the show. And share it with your friends if you so are inclined. And this outro is not going as well as I thought it would. So, if you want the extended or ad-free podcast, go check it out on Patreon. That's Tech Illiterate Patreon, and it'll be out there in the link descriptions and everything like that. This has been Off and On again. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.